What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another video. If you don't know who I am, that means you're new. I'm Mark. Let's go with y'all. Go check out my other videos. Check them out. Check them out. But first, stay on this video. This one's actually going to be a real important video, especially for those of y'all who don't know too much about these gun groups and think, oh yeah, all gun groups are the same. They're all pro 2A, and they, that's what they were always built off of. And this video is definitely for you then, because I'm about to shed some light. So y'all read the title, y'all saw the thumbnail, whatever made you guys click. I'm sure you're wondering, oh, why do you not support the NRA? By the way, that is the topic of today's video. If some of y'all are, just loyal fans who saw I uploaded and click it, some of y'all do. I know some of y'all do. But why I don't like the NRA is for multiple reasons. The main one actually boils down to the fact that they are not for the Second Amendment. Now, I'm sure you're wondering, what exactly do I mean they're not 100% for the Second Amendment, or, what am I referring to, right? And allow me to say this right now. Excuse me. A lot of these things I'm referring to are things that have happened decades ago. I will say that right now. However, no matter how much changing in leadership and any of that you do, I will never be able to trust these people because of their past actions, right? So let's start with the fact that the NRA helped the NFA get drafted. They literally helped the NFA get put into place. For those of y'all guys who don't know what the NFA is, I'm actually pretty sure I did a video on the NFA. I'm not 100% sure at this point. You know what? Yeah, I think I did. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I did. It's been a while, guys. You got to remember, I have over 100 videos on this channel. But I'm pretty sure I've done a video on what the NFA is and why it's so unconstitutional. It essentially is what limits us from having full autos, short barrel rifles, short barrel shotguns, suppressors, what they consider as quote unquote any other weapons, having a pistol brace on your ARP now. The NFA is essentially what affects all of that. It's kind of irritating to, think about the fact that the NRA supported the NFA and they helped it get to where it's at now. It's a real big middle finger, a fuck you, if you will, to the Second Amendment movement, to the people who are pro Second Amendment, who believe there should be zero restrictions. Now, you can make the argument, oh, well, that was almost 100 years ago, which is true. We're looking at like 85 years ago, something like that. All right. However, that is such a big deal. I don't want people to ever forget about that. The NRA did support the National Firearms Act. They did support that. There's no arguing that by any standard. They were all for it. That's a big deal right there. Let me think about it. They actually speaking, in all reality, didn't start even changing their, making changes in the company, I guess you could say, in regards to being pro Second Amendment till about the 70s. I do understand that is, half a century ago. You can always make the argument. However, half a century ago in the time span of our country isn't a long, long time. You got to think about it like this. Sorry, I can English tonight, folks. Our country was founded a little over, I don't know, almost 300 years ago. America's almost 300 years old. You got to think about it like that. That's something that, most people don't really like to think about. And half a century isn't, it's not a lot compared to how long our country has been around and how long the Second Amendment has been put in place, how long the Constitution has enshrined our rights. So for, for the NRA to support the NFA alone and then not even consider, making adjustments in their leadership roles or, basically roles in the company overall until the 70s, that's a big problem itself. Right now, I'm sure you guys are thinking, oh, well, they made changes. So that means they're pro, they're pro Second Amendment, they're anti gun control. And, we would like to think that, right? However, here's my problem. And I will say this instance is, as well, was almost 20 years ago. It was 2005. However, when it goes back to just that recent too, it leaves a real bad taste on the mouth of the people of the on the people who actually give a fuck about the Second Amendment. It's a real big fuck you. It leaves a real sour taste. It's I don't know how to explain it. What essentially was said, right? And as I said, you would think, oh well, since the 70s they had changes, in the company, so this would mean that they're pro Second Amendment. That means they understand what the Second Amendment was actually made for. It was made for self-defense. It was truly made for fighting off a tyrannical government. However, self-defense sure as shit falls into that category too. And you would think that. No, 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 no. 2005, when they were giving out an award. I can't remember what the award was for. However, I do remember what gun they were giving it to. It was the Taurus Model 24/7, and I believe the award was just for like best all around pistol of the year or something like that. And this was in the words of, I can't remember the man's first name, but his last name was Graham. He was the executive. Bro, I had it written down on a piece of paper. I couldn't find the paper before I started the video. Long story short, he was somebody who was pretty high up in the NRA. I believe he was actually in the publication office of the NRA. I'm not sure. But he was pretty high up in there. And, when he was giving out this award, he basically was talking about, the criteria. And he felt that, the Taurus Model 24/7, met quote unquote the reliability and safety and a bunch of this other shit, for competition shooters and hunters. That's what it was. And that's the thing is that, the way he said it, he didn't make it seem like, oh yeah, well, because it's so good for competition shooters and hunters, that's why we chose it. No, he made it seem like, hey, me and the committee, we did some talking. We felt that, this is the best overall pistol of the year, considering the Second Amendment is for shooters and hunters, is how they essentially, there's certain context that would be involved in there. You guys have to actually read the quote yourselves. You can always look it up. Look up NRA 2005 Taurus Model 24/7 speech. It should be somewhere on the internet if you look that up. I'm telling you this without a doubt in my mind. And when you guys read it, you're gonna be like, wow, that is kind of weird. Because why would they even mention competition shooters and fucking hunters? Now, granted, I'm not saying that competition shooters and hunters aren't a part of the Second Amendment community or anything like that. However, that's not the entire Second Amendment community. Those are actually niche, areas of the Second Amendment community. And most people who exercise their Second Amendment rights don't do so for competition purposes or for hunting purposes. They do it for self-protection purposes. So, the fact that they didn't even say, oh, for people who are trying to defend their homes or trying to defend their lives or anything like that, it really bugged me. It kind of showed me that they're not for the Second Amendment like how they should be. Especially considering they went through all these changes, back in the 70s where, they have new leadership roles and all this other shit. And bro, it doesn't add up to me anymore. Because the matter of fact is that regardless of how they want to, paint themselves as, oh yeah, we're really pro Second Amendment, all this other shit, past 100 years, you haven't acted like it. We'll even go as far as to say, not the past 80 years, but, we'll get rid of the last, you know, 10 years, let's say the previous 70 years before the last 10. It doesn't make you look a lot better. I'm sorry, 80 years? Yeah, that 80. You know what I mean? It doesn't make the NRA look good, nor does it make the Second Amendment look good. And that's a big issue considering when people think of the Second Amendment, what gun rights group do they think of? They think of the NRA. And they're not necessarily fighting for people's rights, to be real with you. I'm not seeing them put out bills that say, hey, let's go ahead and, remove some of these restrictions. We're not seeing any of that. However, what we are seeing is just them saying, I don't know if I agree with that. And some of these fucking NRA members, these people are fucking weird. I've heard some NRA members genuinely say that, hey, you don't need a 30 round magazine. The fuck did you just tell me? What? You don't need a 30 round magazine. Okay, and who are you to tell me this? Oh, well, I'm a member of the NRA. Like, my problem is that it's starting to seem like the NRA is generally speaking filled with FUDs. Now, I'm sure, I actually know for a fact there are, exceptions to that rule. However, it's starting to just seem like the NRA is filled with FUDs, and that's how it's always been. Uh, Now, I'm sure once again you can make the argument, oh, maybe they've changed recently. Maybe they have. Who fucking knows, right? They like to claim they've changed, but then they say shit like, oh, yeah, well, for shooters and hunters, like that's the only people who the Second Amendment applies to. And I don't know. I don't fucking know. You know what I mean? That's a problem I have. I really am. Honestly, I just am against the NRA at that point because of it. I want to see them do some actual pro gun things, not just, oh, yeah, well, let's oppose this bill. No, you start saying, hey, we want to, propose bills ourselves that, would help to get back some of these, restricted parts of our rights that we should have already had and never been restricted on in the first place. We don't see that from them. We really don't. I think that's something that definitely needs to change. I think that about wraps it up for this video. Before I do head out, I do want to give a special shout out. My boy Javier, shout out to you, my boy. Happy early birthday. Y'all need to check out his song, Thanking God. The shit snaps. I ain't even gonna lie to y'all. I had to not had to like I was forced to, but I'm the type of person that I'm not gonna sit there and recommend something that I haven't checked out or tried out myself. And my boy actually got talent. There's someone I've worked with before, hardworking dude. Just go and check it out. If you don't like it, you don't like it. If you fuck with it, fuck with it. You know what I mean? That's about it. I think that wraps it up for this video. Y'all go ahead and make sure to like, comment, subscribe, share, hit that bell. When you hit that bell, hit all. Oh, real quick, I don't think I mentioned it, just to be sure. I am going to link my homeboy's music video in the description below, of course, where y'all can check it out. With that being said, though, if you agree with me, right? Let me restart the ending because I feel y'all deserve a better one because, I was a little all over the place. Y'all make sure to like, comment, subscribe, share, hit that bell. When you hit that bell, hit all. That sounds a little better. And because you agree with me that, even if the NRA has changed, right? Even if they had, I don't really give a fuck. I can't trust it at this point. That's like somebody who you've seen, fucking, I don't know, throw a goddamn toddler, and then you're like, hey, I'm going to let this guy babysit my 2-month-old. No, that doesn't make sense. If you agree with me like that, where you're on the same page as me there, go and check out the podcast channel, Adam's channel, Centerfire Podcast, Gun Nut TV. Y'all know what the deal is. Y'all make sure to stay legal, stay safe, stay dangerous. Have a good one, y'all. Peace.